Hello guys, in this video we're going to discuss one of the most effective way to complete your UPSC optional preparation. Okay, so the method is very simple. You are going to use previous year question as the and then you have the previous year question and you keep these together and then you're going to prepare. And if you look at any humanities based optional subject, whether it is sociology or anthropology or political science or public administration, I'm not only talking about sociology, the previous year questions are extremely important. And in fact, in your optional preparation, we can say that previous year questions are the king. And many aspirants I have seen they come full resources, but still they do not score well in optional. Why does this happen? If you look at it, because reading books and preparing for the examination are not always the same thing. If you look at one of my student, mentee Priya, her very first mains. Think about this. There's a sociology and 276, the first mains. So it's not that easy, but she did it by using the same approach that got 293 mark in sociology, almost similar approach. Whether you talk about Shubham, this year, national topper in sociology, 296 marks, again the same approach. Whether it is Ayush Pathak, there is a 55 mark jump. And the only difference that we made is through question papers and the previous year question we prepared this time, we started writing the answer. So see what I want previous year question and keeping that as the foundation, you'll be preparing. See, a student may read tens of books, but if that knowledge is not converted into the answer, and if you read about it, you may know something, but you're not able to convert. Then that reading, is not translating into marks. It's actually a waste of time, right? So what we need is the reading it should be basically to improve your ability to answer the previous year question so that you'll be able to answer, similar questions also. Let's try to understand how you're going to do the systematic. That this is exactly what I discuss with my mentees also personally in a close circle where I charge high, and exactly the same is what I'm sharing here, free of course. Just watch this, take down the notes, a bigger improvement in your optional preparation. So let's start your UPSC optional, with the question papers. Okay, first step, what you need to do, get that, for example, if it is sociology, almost 40 years of question, but at least 20 years you can take, right? Even at least from 2010 onwards, you can take. From 2008, I think the subject syllabus changes there. From there, you can take, right? I mean that one which is having answers. Even this one is new results. That's the one which I'm using. So you can take that and you can either download it from UPSC website also, because it have that subject wise and the topic wise separation, the chapter wise, topic wise separation. So that is actually going to help you a lot. See, when you the other way is for that also. Here there's an advantage that you can save a lot of time because it is chapter wise, it is topic wise. There you are personally doing all these, right? You look at the question paper, then you need to split that knowledge is also, give a lot of value. So you basically begin to understand the nature of the optional also when you examine the question paper. So you will notice that which areas are repeatedly asked, which change, and which topics are asked directly, which topics are asked analytically, how the thinkers are asked, and how the static questions are asked, right? Which concepts are linked with the current developments. So all this give you a much better understanding of the examination. Now, according to the syllabus, you classify the question papers. Now, I don't want you to do that job. That is the reason why I told you. The subject and the syllabus will be extremely good if you can do it yourself. Otherwise, you can get this compilation where everything is there. If you want to do it yourself, what you will do, you get the question papers from UPSC, the original question paper, there every question and classify the syllabus wise. For example, you can take every line of the optional syllabus and place the relevant PYQs under that heading, right? And when you do this, you will immediately not exact question every time, word by word, but it often repeats the same theme or the concepts or the debate in different form. So you can see a topic may be asked as explain, compare. It could be evaluate, comment, analyze its relevance, like that. Just that the wordings may change, but the core demand mostly will remain similar when it comes to optional, that real recurring areas. So here, if you see this one I'm talking about, I can see this is the first topic, right? I don't know how many of you can see very clearly. So here I have all the questions which comes up and the wordings only change. Here it is about explain, here it is about comment, here it is about analyze or critically analyze or discuss. This is otherwise the theme remains the same, and I can see repeatedly it has been asked almost every. You can do it yourself or you can do it like this also. And the next step is most important. You have to prepare answers to all important previous year questions. For that, one round of your reading and understanding is complete answers for this, right? So these answers should become your final optional notes, right? So each of these topics you'll be taking. For example, if I'm talking about sociology, the first chapter, first topic also, I have got knowledge from that. Now look at the question. Here I will write for that particular theme the answer for that, and that's going to be your final note, revision note, or your exam note. So instead of giving to answers, you can prepare your notes directly in the answer format itself. For example, you look at the previous year question. If it is related to, let's say, emergence of sociology, then you'll what all elements you need to have in your answer. You need to have a clear arguments, and you need to have thinkers or scholars, examples you need to have, and the criticisms and the contemporary relevance and the balance conclusion. This is what you need. So once you do this for all your major previous year questions, in fact, you'll be complete. Your examination ready content is already there, right? So your notes will no longer be like a general reading material. They'll become material that can directly be reproduced and adapted to the examination. Just that in the question, the words again do not stop with one standard book. One of the common mistakes that I have seen is you read one popular book that already contain answers to all the previous year questions. That may be useful when you're building up the same content. If you reproduce exactly the same point that thousands of aspirants are also writing, your answer may be correct, but it won't stand out, right? So the book is not the problem. The problem is stopping with foundation, but not your final destination. So once you read the basic answer, what you need to do, you need to ask yourself, what additional scholar can I add? Is there another theoretical perspective? Can I add a recent relevance? Can I add a stronger conclusion? Or is there any possibility of diagram or a flowchart? Can I provide an interdisciplinary link here? So this is how value addition is done, right? Now, see, but in optional, especially humanities-based optional, reading beyond one source can give you an advantage. But of course, for completing the syllabus and for remembering things, it is better to read, your class retention power will be higher, and you can reproduce also better. But if you have extra time, you can read standard university textbooks, right? Which will again complement the books which is used in colleges. That will give some examples. And if you have time only, because we are studying thinkers and original thinkers, text if you read, you'll get that language, you'll get that actual flavor. If you have time only, right? And then the reference books and research articles, topper notes you can read. That is definitely going to help. But see, again, let me tell you, only if you have time. Otherwise, to my optional students, what I tell is, see, first priority is your class notes. What question, any topic from the notes you should be getting and you should be able to collect it. Beyond that, one standard text. This is what I tell you. Beyond that, nothing. But if you have time. But of course, chances are, I think, that your test series chances are very less. But still, if you are someone who's preparing so early, if you have time, then you can do these in that stage, right? But when it comes to exam, plus one standard textbook, which we discussed, right? But see here, when I told you, you can go through all this only when you have time. It is not, the purpose is not that, you're collecting the information endlessly, the PYQ answer. So you read an additional thinker or a new argument, you do not leave it in a separate book. You can directly add that under the relevant previous year question, the answer which you have written, the note that you have, right? You find that you have written, it is relevant there, you'll add there. You find a criticism, you'll add there under the concerned topic. So in that way, even if you read many resources, it is not going to get scattered. It will remain consolidated and organized in that one standard questions that you are solving and you're writing down and you're taking notes. That becomes the container into which all the knowledge is going to be consolidated. Any extra points you'll be adding there. Maybe reading one book, you may get only 1 or 2 points, right? So this is what I told you, add something extra to every answer. See, you need to try to add at least 1 or 2 unique value addition point to every major answer, and that is how you stand out. A contrasting perspective, right? I always, even if the question is about talking about function, I always talk about this function. So that's how a contrasting perspective is also required. You need a criticism extra application, you can have a relevant diagram you can do, or a conclusion from a committee or a thinker you can have. An interdisciplinary connection is what ultimately what we need to have, what is actually expected. For example, you see, for standard answer is giving you 2 additional mechanisms. What you can do, simply add that too. So if the basic book mentioned one scholar and you find a scholar, another scholar with different perspective, you can add that. If the topic has historical explanation, add the contemporary relevance. If the topic appears purely theoretical, then you add real world example, right? That basically create content density. So your answer also becoming more mature, more analytical, and more distinctive in nature if you can do this exercise, right? Reading more books, that is not going to automatically increase your notes, in your marks. The improvement basically comes when additional reading is converted into answer enrichment. Now, if you want that additional reading to convert into answer, it has to be done this way. You need to have the previous year question, syllabus-wise note. There you'll be adding the point. Even in your class notes, you can add, but class note is so dense and so much content is there. But this is your exam ready notes. This is your revision note. And hundreds or thousands of books, right? The examiner will only see what you have written in the answer. That is why I'm telling you, every extra source have to ultimately improve your introduction. So you find something new here when you're reading extra, you'll add it to your examples compared to the others. It should improve your criticism or your perspective or your thoughts or your conclusion and your overall structure. And that is only useful form of extra reading. Otherwise, don't even read extra. Just stick to your books and you will definitely get average score. There is no doubt in that. Now, first your coaching material, your mentor, your teacher, the notes which is given, and then read the books that are widely used in universities and colleges. So it could be helping you to develop that university, college, whatever is taught, right? Original arguments you'll find there, and deeper theoretical understanding you'll be getting, and you can get better. That if it is sociology, I say sociological language get, and you'll also get multiple perspective. So popular notes, they may tell you what to write, but the standard books that will help you to understand why that point matters. So when why you need to write what you're writing will be told or you understood, you will be able to understand if you're reading the standard books. So standard books is actually enriching your thoughts and your knowledge, and you get a better content that will give you flexibility when it comes to the actual exam. So even if UPSC changes the wordings of the question, you'll still be able to answer in that scenario, right? Now you need to understand things, right? And this memorization should come through and keep revising it repeatedly. Do not try to blindly memorize every sentence. Understand the structure. You know the structure, you have the introduction, you have main headings, you have scholars, thinkers, you have contrasting perspective, you have examples, you have criticisms, you have personally prepared the answer for these. What happens? You remember things, you know the context, the memorization becomes very easy. The answer stays in your mind because you have read it, you have rewrote it in your own terms, right? And you can start reading someone else's notes, repeatedly, because there is no touch of yours. So you won't find it, that easy to memorize. So the effort that you're putting here, that will help you in terms of, right? So this is how you'll have to make your final optional note. By the end of this process, if you do this, your optional notes should mainly contain previous year question based answers, and that is important themes with introduction, with conclusion, with structured body, with criticisms, with contrasting perspective. Whatever is required for that particular topic should be there. For every syllabus area, any shows the thinkers, additional perspectives, the contrasting perspectives, the examples, the criticisms, the contemporary relevance, and the conclusions. This is what you need to focus on. This book you need to create. So that you do not need to go back to all those standard books or the coaching materials or the material which I have given to you. You just need this book. You revise all these, enriched previous year question answers method. You may read many sources during your preparation, but your final revision source remain limited and manageable. So why this work? Think about this. See, this is actually working for three major reasons. First, you are following the previous year question. Secondly, it converts knowledge directly into answer writing material. And there is a ready-made material which you can remember, which you can retain, which you can reproduce also. Answers to become different from generic market notes. It will stand out. And many aspirants, everyone will read, right? But very few will do like this. Very much like the way. With every previous year question, with scholars, with examples, with criticisms, with conclusion. So your answer is definitely going to stand out. And that is where the difference, 219 in the previous attempt, got 274 this attempt, he got IAS. Himanshu got 209 last year, got 264 this year, both 55 mark improvement. Priya national topper by 293 marks. Shubham became national topper in the next year with 29. Why we got two national toppers in 2 years? Because of this. So this is a practical step-by-step plan. Right, let's make the questions from 2010 onwards, from UPSC, original question. Or there also you can reduce your job by getting this kind of any of this. I'm not endorsing a brand or anything. If you want to avoid, get this compilation. But again, getting this compilation and you doing it yourself, it may take 1-2 days extra, but this again give you a deeper understanding of syllabus also. Okay. And identify the repeated patterns and frequently asked areas, prepare basic answer using reliable standard source, your coaching notes and the standard source, and read additional standard text examples, criticisms, conclusion, enrich your notes. Write the final answer in your own words. Revise every day, repeatedly, and practice reproducing this answer, within the required religiously. Your optional preparation will become much more focused. And I can tell you, you will definitely score. If you are not scoring 280 plus after doing this, even God don't have an answer for this, right? There is no chance that you won't score that if you do this. So always remember, your goal is not to finish maximum number of books. Your goal is to prepare the best possible answers. So read more one single area source which you can revise. So use your previous year questions to understand the syllabus. Use your previous year questions to identify the pattern. Use your previous year question to identify the repetition. Questions to guide your additional reading. Use your previous year question to practice your answer writing. And finally, use your previous year question for your revision material, your revision note, your exam note. For humanities-based optional to move from average preparation to strong. So do not simply read what everyone else is reading. Start with the standard content, go one level beyond that, and add something valuable to every answer for every topic. And this is how final rank, right? So that's all what I want to discuss in this session. And if you would like to join our mentorship program on GS or ethics or